Awesome. All right. So we'll go to hard to say anything. Oh man, this one's so fun. Okay. So, so they're going around town, okay, and Big Mac he finds this girl named Sweetie Belle. And Sweetie Belle, she kind of runs like this bakery, right? And so she has her huge bakery, and so she orders like a ton of apples from the apple farm, and Big Mac always comes to give her all of her apples because they sell her apples, right? And so as Big Mac is like going on his delivery, Sweetie Belle like takes him into a shop and like basically starts flirting with him. And so like there's like a spark, there's like a connection between the two. And so like Big Mac gets down and she gets down, and they're like both game for some fun. And so like they really like each other, and they want to like start to develop a relationship, right? Pretty like basic stuff. But then this guy comes in he's got like the Justin Bieber. I mean, it's a pretty hard parallel between like him and Justin Bieber. It's pretty funny. And so he's got like tons and tons of women like at his beckoning call. And it's some great inspiration for the character. And so like they're both sort of like competing over like who's gonna like date Sweetie Belle. And to like sort of show it the best. They really do it really, really well with the song.
We'll take a walk down by the river, watch the sunset from the field. We'll plant the seeds of love together and water them right for a really good yield. Sugar Belle, sweet as pie, you're the apple of my eye, a cherry blossom in a field of rye. And when the heifer's milked and fed and the pigs are in the sty, won't you be there by my side?
Oh, 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 oh. When you appeared before me, my heart stopped beating. Stars crossed the sky to come see what I was seeing. You were the one that made me believe I could fly. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Birds could not sing a song that says beautiful. I'd do anything that's irrefutable, 'cause you are the sun painting my heart in the sky. Whoa, oh. Sugar, sugar Belle, oh, when will you tell me that you feel the same? Like an angel on a candy cane, oh, the sunlight shining through a drain.
Sugar Belle, when I look in your eyes, I see the color blue, and it reminds me of the sky above, which is also blue.
Hey, 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 yeah. Be my sugar plum, I will be your watermelon. Every time you smile, I can feel my heart swelling. Blood is rushing from my head to my hooves, yeah. I start moving when I'm feeling that groove, yeah.
I've been writing this song for you, searching for the perfect rhyme, for the words I wanna say. Be mine.
Every day I see you, I know you could be the one for me. Feel my heart beating like the rain upon a bumblebee. Don't you see that I do? Whenever you want me, the answer.
Sugar Belle, roses are red and violets are blue.
Sugar, sugar, my love is burning hot like a cheese fondue.
Sugar Belle,
Sugar Belle,
Sugar Belle,
Sugar Belle,
Sugar Belle,
Sugar Belle, Sugar Belle.
So they have like this huge argument, this huge fight, and they're both trying to win the server. But like the problem is like they care way too much. And you've got to care, but not that much. And so they're both like just tumbling on top of each other. And the CMC come in, and the CMC, they try to help Big Mac, and they're trying to help him figure out, what he can do to be nice and to, win her over. But, it's just this ridiculous. You see it, it just goes over and over and greater and greater and greater. Just competition and random fights. It's just the stupidest thing because they care way too much. And you got to care, but not that much. And that's sort of the problem that they have. And so, they work through this, and they work through this, and work through this. And, basically, the CMC just have Big Mac, follow Sugar Belle everywhere. And do things for her, be with her. It's just a ton of, this idea of, he's going for over and over and over again. And he's persistent and consistent effort and energy going towards, winning her over. But what, she really, it pushes her away, right? And you can see, he's trying super hard, and he follows her all over the place, and it's just way too much, right? And because it's too much, it alienates her and it pushes her away. Because you can't force a connection, right? It's just gotta develop over time. Remember, the best way to just strengthen any sort of relationship or any kind of connection or friendship is to consistently add to it over time. And what he's doing with this competition and challenge, this is this idea that challenge is such a powerful way to get people to connect with you and to work with you and to try to move up and do more than what you would normally do because you're in a challenge and you're trying to get more out of your actions and what you're doing. But for him, this challenge, it really destroys his ability to connect on a personal level, and it makes him appeal too much to this competitiveness, and it just destroys the chances that they're together, and mostly because it crushes his genuineness, right? It destroys his personal touch, and it makes him focus way too much on trying to beat someone else instead of just trying to be the best that he can be. And that's what he needs to focus on, right? He can't focus on destruction or trying to win or trying to beat someone else out. You can only focus on improving yourself. And it's true in relationships, it's true in friendships, it's true in all aspects of life. This idea that if I go run a 5K, I can't definitely, right, you want to beat everybody, right? But the only speed that you can run is your own speed. And the fastest that you can go is the fastest for you, right? And so you can, increase your performance by increasing your confidence, increasing, your preparation, your training, and then building up over time, how great you are, and for sure, right? But that's all in the past, right? And in the present and in the now, all you can do is perform and give it everything you've got, and then sort of expand your efforts. See, he's smart, right? Because he gets the CMC to help him, so he's not alone, and he has this power of a friendship and a bond and a group, a powerhouse of friends behind him that support him and are helping him, win this over this relationship, which is super cool, and that's a great way to leverage your output, right? But he can only do what he can do. He only knows what he knows, and as his friends help him, that helps a whole lot. But the vast majority of the impact that comes from this and winning over at the end, it comes from his ability to give his all and to care, but not that much, right? He has to be willing to walk away, and that's really what happens at the end, right? Is he says, look, this is bogus, right? We gotta stop fighting, stop arguing, and she gravitates towards him because he's significantly more genuine than the Justin Bieber guy who's got tons of women falling for him, which is just the funniest thing ever. He got oh man. And so what's cool is this happens and it flies over and they realize, what's going to happen, and she, rejects the other guy because he just wasn't genuine, right? And so to have strong relationships, strong friendships, it's got to be genuine. It's got to be all you. To get to that next level of success, you just can't have falsehoods, right? And so by eradicating falsehoods and moving towards the success that you want and sticking with radical and complete transparency, that's really how he succeeds here, and it just works out. And so yeah, and it's really cool because after Sweetie Belle decides to go with Big Mac and everyone's happy, the CMC they go and they try to help out the fun dancing guy, right? Justin Bieber man. And he says that he's so sad because he just doesn't know how to connect with others, and he doesn't know who he'll befriend. And so what's cool is they come in and they have this outside force and they help him, and they help him overcome, because he's like really good at, you know, singing and dancing and having huge parties, but like he struggles with connecting with people like on a one-on-one intimate relationship or in friendships, right? And so it's cool because he raises his hand to the CMC and he says, "I need help," and he asks them for help. And he says, "Hey, how do you guys do this?" Right? It's like the one thing he struggles with, and how can he make that happen? And so what's cool is like at the end of the episode, they help him out, and they like help him introduce himself and connect with people. Like, remember, he's got like tons and tons of women following him, but he was struggling to connect with them and to like talk to them, right? And so he didn't have any like close relationships in his life. He didn't have any power base, right? He was like all alone, which is like the worst place to be. And so we had to expand, right, and move on to connecting with more and more people that can have a massive, massive impact on his life, and then expand his power base, right? So it's not just him. And as soon as it's not just him, he is so much more powerful and so much more impactful in all aspects of the work he does, professional life. Like everything stems from this quality base of people that care and that help him succeed. And that's how he has like the most success possible at the end of the episode, which is like super, super cool. And then everybody wins and is happy. And also, Big Mac kind of like builds her a new display for like all of her baked goods and stuff. So that's like another way to add value to a relationship. This idea that like you're like actually giving something of marketable value to someone is going to show that like you care about them. So like you put in time, effort, energy, and work to make that happen, because it knew it was like something personalized that would make a difference to her. And so that had a really big impact to him, was one of like the huge factors of what he did. Was he thought about like looking through her eyes, looking through someone else's eyes, like look through their vision and imagine like what they could want, and then like try to mash together what they want with what you have a specialized ability to produce. So like, for example, like I know so many people, they really need help managing their portfolios. And so like, I can see that they need help with that, and I'm really good at that, and so I'll just do it for them like gratis, and it adds a ridiculous amount of value to those relationships, and that's how I started like developing some of my first mentor-mentee relationships, was just by adding a ridiculous amount of value to people, by helping them out with their portfolio management and helping them make like hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. And then like as soon as you do that, all of a sudden it's 10 times easier to like say, "Hey, you know, what did you do when you were starting your first business or a company or something like that?" It's just a lot easier when you add a ton of value by focusing on your unique ability and then just like doing things for people for free. And it just adds so much value. And then that's a relationship asset that will pay for like the rest of your life, which is the coolest thing ever, right? Super awesome. Okay, awesome. Okay, Honest Apple. So Rarity, she's having like this huge fashion show, and everyone's going to be at this fashion show, and they're all going to show off their dresses and their designs. And she invites like some of the top designers from across the country, across the world. Like everybody that is anybody for fashion is coming, and she finds like the top 3 designers, which is like super cool. So she gets like these top 3 designers, and then she gets Photo Finish, who again is just like that photographer. And she gets them all together and says, "Hey, let's have this huge fashion show. Come on over, and we'll have judges, and it'll be like the best thing ever. And you guys can come, and we'll judge you." And so like Photo Finish is a judge, and then Rarity is a judge, and she chooses Applejack to be a judge. And she says whoever wins will get their designs put in like all of her stores. So remember, she's got like stores in Ponyville, she's got stores in Manhattan, she's got stores in Canterlot. So the idea here is she has power over the most important part of all of commerce and all of sales and all of business, and that's distribution. So if you have like a distribution channel, you can connect with millions and millions of people, or tons and tons of people, and you have a way to get your products or services into their hands, and you can get complementary and likewise products and services in their hands, such as newfound dresses, new designs from up and coming artists. All of a sudden, like, Rarity is super valuable, not because she knows how to make really good dresses. She's super valuable because she has the distribution network she needs to get dresses into the hands of people who really like dresses, right? And so this distribution network makes her a very valuable player and a big asset to whoever wins this competition, because they'll be able to get their designs in front of people and just sell them, right? So it's a very, very. I mean, you look at like stuff like Shark Tank, and like some guys like Daymond John, or they're just all super, super cool people. All have like amazing books, and like their most valuable asset. And the one thing that they focus on when they try to make a new deal, like primarily, is their distribution network, right? So you got Daymond, he's got like all his clothing stores. And then you look at Lori. Lori's got what? She's got TV, right? So like TV, clothes. And they also have like these one special avenues that they focus all their energies on. And these are what? These are not like, like they call them strategic partnerships. But in reality, like if you can get inside of Macy's, if you can get inside of, Walmart, right? She's got people that get inside of Walmart, right? These are just distribution networks, and the distribution networks are so valuable, and so that's really exactly like what Rarity is giving out as a prize here, is this distribution network, because as soon as you can get your product in front of more and more people, it's like a bajillion times easier to like make sales. Like this idea that like all you need are eyeballs on your product, and then the instant that happens, a certain percentage of people are going to purchase, right? Which is super cool. Anyway, she picks Applejack as a judge, and Applejack, she does not know too much about fashion. Fashion's not her forte, and so it's a little bit out of left field. No one really knows why, but like Rarity loves Applejack, and like she's her friend, and so they're cool with it, right? And so these guys come into town and they start setting up their dresses and they're getting ready for the event, and it starts in a couple of days. And as they're like finishing up everything, putting on final touches, they start to do like a judge walkthrough. So the judges come and they walk through because they're the ones who are like judging everything, right? And so they, Rarity goes through all the dresses and all the contestants, and she says, "Wow, these are really, really good. Good job, guys." And then Flash Photo Finish goes through all the dresses and said, "Wow, these are really good. Good job, guys. Awesome job." Now remember, like we're focusing on praise, right? We're focusing on positivity and being nice to people and giving just happiness and very specific and genuine praise, and focusing on what works really, really well, and then complimenting what works well and just ignoring the stuff that doesn't work well. And that's the goal here, right? And so when Applejack comes in and looks at all this stuff, it's a little bit of a problem. See, instead of giving praise, instead of boosting their egos, boosting their personalities, instead of just ignoring herself and sacrificing, maybe like it would feel really, really good if she pointed out all the flaws, but instead of sacrificing her feeling really good and pointing out all the flaws, because she's got to sacrifice that so that they feel better about themselves and they have better dresses and overarching performance that's significantly better. And that's like the goal, right? That's what needs to happen. That's what she should do. And that's what pretty much the rest of them do, is they ignore all the critiques they can make and how they can feel good by pointing out how ugly things are. And this idea that like she could like break down the tallest tower and criticize others so that she would be the most important one there. And that's a very like tempting thing for a lot of people, but you have to stop yourself from doing that. You have to resist the urge to hurt others in exchange for bettering yourself. But she just doesn't do that. It's a shame. It's just a shame. So she goes to each of these 3 designers, and she looks at it from like a practical point of view, which is just like, I don't know. And so she says, "Oh, this is bad because of this. This is bad because of this. This is bad because of this. There's no way I could put this on in 5 minutes in the morning. This would take forever to work. This wouldn't work in the rain." She points out all these flaws with their designs and why they're all terrible and all these problems and every single reason why it wouldn't work, instead of focusing on why it looks nice. And then she like goes in and she like rips apart all this work that they've done and destroys like hours and hours and hours of passionate labor for them that is like super, super important to them. And they, everyone here, right? They all see how extremely difficult work that they've done is and how important it is. They all greatly value it and say that, they are all like in this mastermind, right? So they have these connections, these fashion connections, where they understand the importance of what they're doing and like how complex these designs are. But Applejack, she's outside of this mastermind and she's not connected and she doesn't see from the same perspective as these guys, and she doesn't understand this idea that they are on fire and they're just absolutely crushing it. And instead she looks at it and she says, that it's terrible, and she looks at it from like this outside perspective where she does not really understand all the work that goes into it, and instead of just like saying great job and being nice, she criticizes it and she destroys it. And because she criticizes it and goes against it, it absolutely crushes their ego, and it crushes their designs, and they feel awful about themselves and what they've done, and they just, this little bit of negativity just explodes into a whole fit of like collective anger against each other. And so this goes on for a couple of days, and over and over and over again, she keeps saying that like everything's bad and they need to start over and make it more useful. And it gets to the point where like these guys get so upset that they walk out and say that it's not worth it, and that they're going to quit, and they're going to stop working for Rarity, and they're going to not do the show whatsoever, and they're just going to freaking leave, which is awful, right? And it's all because of the negativity that Applejack brought in that must be destroyed, because she just doesn't understand all the work that goes into what they're doing, and she just like tearing it down instantly. It's awful. And so Applejack, she doesn't understand this, right? And Rarity, like, she knows that she's got to do something, or all these guys are going to leave and it's going to be a total failure. And so what she does is she needs Applejack to have a shift in paradigm, a shift in her mindset. And, you know, she could just scream at her and yell at her and say, hey, this is awful. These guys are working so hard. You need to compliment them. But again, this idea that like an outside force cannot have an internal change on somebody. And so she doesn't do that. And instead, what she does is she wants Applejack to have her own epiphany. And so she walks down the street, she walks downtown, and she comes to this one house with Cherry Jubilee, this is her name. I forget her name. She like really likes strawberries, and her cutie mark's a strawberry, and all she does is she farms strawberries all day. And they go in front of her, and Applejack's next to Rarity. Rarity knocks on the door, says, hey, can you tell Applejack what you think about apples? And she says she hates them. And Applejack freaks out. She's like, what do you mean? Apples are like the best ever. And she says, yeah, but they're not strawberries. I don't like them. And she says that they're like the worst things ever. Then she closes her door and walks away. And Applejack is fuming. So he's super pissed off. Just like all these designers were super pissed off when Applejack said that their work was bad. And so she realizes that like she's super passionate about this one thing, just like these guys are super passionate about fashion. And when people attacked her and insulted her passion, which was apples, she felt awful. And she understands that that's exactly how these guys feel when she attacks them. So she has to come back, she has to take this lesson, she has to apply it, and she realizes that you cannot win by breaking others down, and that she has to respect what these guys love to do, even if she doesn't fundamentally understand it for herself. She gets away, comes back, apologizes, erases, all of the negativity, and says that they should do their own thing, that she's sorry, and that she will respect their work. And then they have the fashion show. Everyone goes by. They all have a great time. And at the end, she's like the tiebreaker vote, and she says that they all win because they're all the best. And so she has this total shift in mindset and perspective. And she realizes that, like, even though she doesn't understand what makes this so interesting for them and how they have like all this work that they're doing, they're like an example, right? They have these two belts, and they can't figure out which belt is better. And to Applejack, they look the exact same. But to everybody else, they're just like tiny little differences. And she realizes that those intricacies, those nuances, this very detailed and qualitative perspective is only one from experience and from passion in the fashion industry, and that she must accept her friends and accept their work and accept what they're doing, so that they because that's what they love and that's what they're passionate about. And so she realizes that like she will agree with them and be part of them, and support them, right? And just let them do their thing and be in the same page with them, because the best way to like grow these relationships and to win friends, right, is not to break others down or to say their work is bad, but like even if you don't understand it, just agree with them and say, yes, of course, 100%, that's cool, I'm on the same page with you, I agree, this is great work. Praise, right? You want to be so lavish with it, you want to give out so much praise, because the more praise you give out, the more people will love you, the more they want to work with you. And that's exactly what happens here. The instant that she switches from negativity and breaking them down to praising them and saying that they have the best work they can find, everything changes. And because she can learn to praise, she makes new friends, and all of a sudden, everything changes for them. She turns around, they have a tremendous, tremendous relationship from this point forward, and she totally agrees with them. They agree with her. They have lots and lots and lots of prosperity, success in the future because she overcame her negativity, went to positivity, and had lots and lots and lots of praise. Super, super cool.